Hey everyone, and welcome back to the X-Ring. So in today's episode, what we're going to do is look at the RimX by Zermatt Arms. So you see a lot of Voodoos and a lot of Bergaras and a lot of CZ in precision rimfire shooting, whether it's NRL 22 or 22X or even PRS. However, you don't see a lot of these, and I had heard a lot of negative things about the RimX, about feed issues and nightmares with that. But I think what it's going to come down to is getting you a good gun builder, somebody that really knows what they're doing with this action. All right, so today is Friday, September the 10th, and tomorrow there's a match at VOD. Now, I wasn't scheduled to shoot that match. I had to withdraw, but then I got this in the mail today. So this is Friday afternoon. It's 3 o'clock. This is made by Desert Precision Gunworks. You guys probably know him from the channel. We just visited him in Arizona, and Eagle Eye Shooting is his channel. Now, this is what I had specifically ordered. This is a RimX, a Zermatt action. I'll show you this up close. It does have a Krieger 1-in-16 20-inch barrel. That is a double recessed crown, 11 degrees, and then basically 90 degrees on the crown itself. It's a straight barrel. It's a 1.250, and unfortunately, that won't fit in an MPA or anything like that. However, in an XLR, that is the maximum size. So this thing actually finished out very, very well. And guys, look at that. It is so hard to get a rimfire that has a completely balanced area, and that's forward of the mag well, and that's being able to get all that weight up front and get that massive barrel out there. So I had been waiting a while on this. I wanted to kind of see, you guys know that I normally shoot a Voodoo, I've been messing around with the Bergaras as well, but I wanted to see what the RimXs would do. I did have a chance to play with one. In full disclosure, it was an 18-inch barrel, but I wanted to get more of that weight up front. Remember, I was saying there's really no difference between an 18-inch or a 20-inch barrel with regards to velocity. It's just going to be that weight. But because it is so difficult to get a balanced 22, I wanted more of that weight up front. You could get even more up there with like a 22-inch barrel. So what we're going to do is we're going to shoot this. Now, an XLR chassis does not, at the moment, I know some are shipping, does not come with an adjustable mag catch. And that's a huge benefit on an MPA chassis like this, especially for rimfire. I really like the MPA BA hybrid chassis. You could use a comp as well, but I didn't need all the thumb wheels and everything to adjust the cheek riser and length of pull. But what you're gonna see here, and I've pointed this out before on the channel, you guys see that screw right there with the latch? What this enables you to do is it enables you to put a magazine in here and adjust how high it sits or how low it sits. Let me go ahead and grab one. And guys, this is a Voodoo magazine. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna insert it in here. And you guys notice the slop? That's a whole lot of slop, right? This is where I've seen the biggest issues with rimfire is seating the mag, and the next thing you know, it drops down, and then now it won't feed into the chamber. Well, with an MPA chassis and their adjustable mag catch, I can run that down to where this locks and stays right there. So it's one of the reasons why an MPA is such an attractive chassis. I did have issues when I put the Voodoo in the XLR. Now, Matt's rifle, his XLR, he didn't have that issue. His just kind of fit and it worked well. But you guys know I have a lot of the XLR, the JVMV Pros, and it has been a challenge, shall we say. Now, I do know that's been addressed. You should start seeing some of those with adjustable mag catches. But one of the beauties of the RimX is on the RimX magazines, and guys, look at that magazine. Let's compare it to the Voodoo magazine. And this is not a comparing Voodoo versus RimX, but the fit, finish, and the quality of this magazine is substantially better than this one. I can tell you that. I've had nothing but issues with these Voodoo metal mags. The polymer mags work the best, but this right here has the extension on it. So this magazine price point is going to run you about $105 or so. And then they do make this +5 extension that's going to give you 15 rounds. The quality of this is just unbelievable, but what's really nice is they have the adjustable mag catch integrated onto the back of the magazine. So what I've been able to do with this, on this rifle, when I seat this magazine, that's it. You guys see there's really no slop. Now, you don't want to make it so that you have to slam it up in there, but you're not gonna have any feed issues when you're running it this way. And that's just a sexy looking platform right there. So I do have the guard on here because I like to put my hand on top when I shoot. But this is the problem. This is Friday afternoon. I have zero dope on this thing. I have no idea what kind of speeds I'm going to get. In full fairness, I did shoot this a few minutes ago and I'm impressed, but I'm not impressed with this. RimX is my go-to. I've always shot this in the Voodoos and it loves them. I actually sent my Voodoo off, had it lot tested, and this was the lot number that it gave me for that. And I've done pretty well with it. But this RimX does not like this ammo at all. It's probably at 50 yards, going to hold probably 3/4 of an inch, which is horrible for 50 yards for a rimfire. But I have a lot of Ely 10X, and this RimX absolutely loves it. So what I'm going to do, I don't have a camera down range. I'm going to try to get one set up. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do some first shots with this rifle on the camera and see what kind of groups we get. I think you guys are going to be impressed because, like I said, I just shot a couple shots just to check it for feeding, but I've never been known to be the sharpest knife in the drawer. What I'm going to do is, just based on a 100-yard zero, I'm going to attempt to shoot an NRL 22X match tomorrow. What I'm going to do is input that data into the Kestrel 5700 Elite, and hopefully I can do well. It is a full match with a lot of really, really good shooters. You have a lot of Bergara shooters and a lot of just top PRS rimfire shooters that are going to be there. So if I can finish in the top 10, I think that would actually be doing something, especially since I'm not going to be able to get any ELR dope or anything past 100 yards because I don't have access to it. So let's go ahead and get to shooting. Let's see what this thing will do. All right, so I have a camera going down range. I know I've got it zeroed at 50 yards. 50 yards is my preferred zero for ELR 22. I typically run a 20 or a 30-minute of angle base. And like I said, guys, these magazines just feed so smoothly. And I want to see how this performs. Now, this has the extension, so it will hold 15 rounds. But there is something that I noticed about this RimX mag that I absolutely hate. And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that up close. When you're loading this magazine, guys, and you have the extension on here, see how nice that is? Well, what am I running out of? I'm running out of room to be able to push down on this. So at this point, I can't pull down any further to get this next round in here. And what we don't want to do is deform the tip of this bullet because we know that these have to fly straight. So the only way that I've found is to actually take my hand and pull down on the actual bullets themselves. And that's the only way I can relieve enough tension to be able to get those 15 rounds in here. So if you buy one of these extensions, be aware of that, because I would not feed it like a pistol mag where you're doing that, because you're going to score the top of this bullet here. So that is 15 rounds. Let's go ahead and start shooting. Guys, I'm trying to hurry up and do this because I do want to shoot that match tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot on the paper first just to confirm zero. Typically with ELR 22 and these style rifles, you'll typically have a cold bore shift. I haven't shot this rifle in over an hour, and I figured I would try to knock this video out very quickly. What I noticed is I might have a 10th left shift on a cold bore, but then it just gets settled right back down into zero. So what I'm going to do is what we talked about in the videos. I'm going to brace pretty well. I use a larger bag because I'm looking for a really good zero here, so I don't have any surprises tomorrow. Now, we should have time to zero in the morning, but that's never a guarantee. So I'm checking my zero or level. And what we're going to do is we're going to go for the sighter target on the top left corner. I'm going to hold the bottom left sighter, and here we go. So just a hair left and low. I expected that. I'm actually shooting pretty quickly. And it's just chewing out the center. Let's go ahead and move to the next one to the right. That's a bullseye. Bullseye on that one. That was me. Bullseye. And bullseye. So guys, this thing feeds beautifully. So what I'm going to do now is I still have the GoPro, and I know this might seem kind of hurried, and it is, because I'm just trying to hurry up and get this video out, because what I'm going to do is try to get out there and get out there early enough tomorrow to just confirm my 0. So I might end up camping out there tonight, but I will follow it up. So I've got about 8 or 9 rounds of this Ely, and I am just going to go straight to the KYL plate at 50 yards. We're also going to test this at 100. All right, so here we go. You guys should be able to see this on the GoPro. Starting left to right. Impact, 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 impact. They're getting small now. We are at the 1/2 inch target. And 1/4 inch target. And that's an impact clean all the way through. So guys, I am very impressed with this action, the accuracy of this, but 50 yards doesn't tell me everything. We also need to check it at 100. Let's see what kind of groups we can get at 100, and I'll have it on this side so you guys can kind of see the action working. Stay tuned. All right, I'm trying to get in the camera here, but one of the things you need to realize about the Zermatt, whether you're shooting a TL3 or a RimX like this, the bolt itself, guys, I'm gonna let you guys see this up close. The bolt itself looks like that. Now, you don't ever want to put one in the chamber and try to close it. That's a good way to break the extractor on these, because the round itself is actually supposed to be lifted off and then fed up in there like this. So by trying to close on the extractor and rotating, you can actually shear that off. That's one of the things I know about these RimXs. So don't single feed it and try to close on it. You need to feed from the magazine so that it can take it off the mag and bring it up into the face of the bolt. So that's the first thing you need to know. The next thing you need to know is, depending on how hard you cycle, because it's a controlled extraction, how hard you cycle the bolt will determine how far the brass throws out. So you need to be conscientious of this, especially with the RimXs, because if you fire, and let's just go ahead and show you guys. Let me make sure this is close enough. All right, guys, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close this, and I am going to just shoot. If you work this normally, watch the extraction. Okay, it throws it about right there. Now what I'm gonna do, let's say I get lackadaisical and I do this. You see how it just barely fell out? Well, you need to be aware of that, because if you don't work the bolt to the rear fast enough, it could possibly fall back into the action. I haven't had that happen yet, but I know it's definitely possible. Let's see if we can make that happen. All right, so here we go. I'm just gonna slowly pull that out. You see how it just kind of trickled out or dribbled out? That's something you need to be aware of with these actions. You need to cycle it. One of the most important things to do before a match is to get those zeros at 50 yards. Make sure you can get something at 100 yards, whatever distance you can go. You also want to get a really good chronograph speed. Whether you're using a trap or a lab radar or something like a magneto speed. Now guys, this contraption here is made by Wiser Precision. And what this allows you to do is connect to an Arca rail. And what I can do is attach it to the Arca rail. Nothing actually touches the barrel. We're not hanging off the barrel. And I can get my velocities from this and shoot it and see what my groups are like. That way, when I'm trying to true it at distance, if I have one that goes really low, I can look straight on the magneto speed and see if it was just a low velocity round. Because remember, a couple of feet per second are going to make a huge difference in this ELR game for 22, shooting that little 40 grain bullet. So this is a way made by Wiser. You're looking at about $150. You can get it in a lot of different configurations, everything from Arca Swiss to Picatinny. And what I can do is mount this. It enables me to move the display forwards and rearwards. Now, one of the things is it's all 3D printed. And I guess that stuff's strong enough, but it does look a little cheap, but it does work well. I can actually move the bayonet to where I need it. I can slide it, I can rotate it sideways. You can actually side mount this if you want and still shoot with your magneto speed like this. Works well on really long rifles, and it doesn't affect your accuracy because it's not affecting those harmonics. So what I did was I shot a bunch of groups, and you guys didn't need to see that. I'll show you some of the groupings. But my average feet per second is 1,100 feet per second. So what I did is I went into the Kestrel app for the 5700 Elite, and I can't show you that because it's being filmed on my phone right now, but you just go to the Kestrel app, go to 224, and you should be able to find Ely. So in that case, I chose Ely 10X, and it will basically upload that entire profile for that. Now the velocity is going to be off. It'll probably say like 2650 because that's kind of the default. You need to change that to whatever your average velocity is for whatever ammunition you're shooting. So in this case, I put 1,100 feet per second at 72 degrees. The more temperature nodes you can put in there, the better data you're going to have on your output on your Kestrel. So once I did that, then what I need to do is tell it the zero range, because your zero range is going to default to 109 yards. You need to change that to 50 yards. I'm trying to save you guys some time and energy because these are things that normally happen to newer folks that are just learning their Kestrels, and all of a sudden the dope doesn't match up. So what I'm going to do is, I know I've got a 50-yard zero. I'm going to turn this on. And what I did was I just paired it. I sent that information to here, but it's only based off of the velocity that it has for what I gave it. You're still going to be off at distance, but I only have 100 yards here. So the best I could do is muzzle velocity correction at 100 yards. All right, so at that 104 yards, I have to go on what the Kestrel says. And it says, or reads 1.8 mils. Make sure you put in your mils or MOA correction. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna move the camera. I'm just gonna go over here to this side. I have not confirmed it. I have not even shot at that steel today, but it's exactly 104 yards. So what I'm going to do is I'll dial in 1.8. I'll just shoot it in the prone position and see if I can hit that little 2-inch steel out there. Hopefully it won't be an issue, because if there's an issue, now I'm gonna have to true out my muzzle velocity. And you guys might say, well, wait a minute, you used a magneto speed and it said it was 1,100. That's okay. Even though that happens, you can still true your muzzle velocity. I would never true out my muzzle velocity beyond about 200 yards. And then after 200 yards, that's when you want to calibrate your drop scale factor or your DSF. So let me just pick up the camera, turn it around. And I'm doing this in one quick take, guys, so that you can see there's not a whole lot of editing or anything going on. So what I'm going to do is, this is at 0 at 50 yards. We just shot that. I'm going to go up to 1.8. I do have a little bit of breeze, but what I'm going to do is, there is a steel up there at 104. Well, let's see if this thing's even close. And you guys are just going to have to listen to the report. All right, so here we go. 104. Impact. Impact, impact, impact. It's too easy. It's just chewing out the center of it. But I don't know what I'm going to have tomorrow at those longer distances. But believe me, guys, you're going to win your matches at that 150 and in positional, not just the ELR stage. My Kestrel will only do so much for me. And so I'll have to do a job of spotting. In case I look and I see that I'm low, I'll have to make an instant correction. So I have a lot of high hopes for this. I'm going to go ahead and show you some targets from today. So stay tuned. All right, so before the video started, you guys know that I zeroed the rifle. I mentioned that. So getting started, it was a brand new barrel. I just wanted to shoot the siders. And you can see I was getting things dialed in. And that is a 5-shot group. I don't do 3-shot groups. This was confirmation on getting it back down. This is another 5-shot group with a cold bore. This right here is a 10-shot group at 50 yards. This right here is a 5-shot group. This is a 10, this is a 10. You can also see where I was playing around on some of these numbers. Then I went to 100 yards. This is after letting the rifle cool off for 15 minutes in between the long range shots. And the reason is sometimes you can have that cold bore shot, and while 2/10 doesn't seem like much, at 100 yards, or 200 yards, that could be a complete miss off the left side of the target. So what I did was I started off dialing in to make sure, and it was 1.8. So I knew that was confirmed. This was my cold bore shot. We also had a little bit of wind going. This was 15 minutes later, including the cold bore. This is at 100 yards, folks. And then what I did was I let the rifle cool for 15 minutes. I shot one shot, center punched it. This right here, we had a little bit of wind going. You can see it moving from left to right. Got a little sloppy with that, but then there's a 5-shot group, let it cool for 15 minutes, and there's a first round bullseye. So I'm very, very impressed with this rifle. If you're going to build a RimX, now I know that Kenny has actually taken some RimX builds in that he had to correct that had feeding issues, and it's all about the headspace. That's very, very important. I don't know if he's still doing that kind of work. I know that he does keep the RimX actions in stock, and he can build whatever you want, whatever length. I've been to his house, I've seen his equipment, and he makes a quality rifle. Now, if you ask about price on this, I asked Kenny what the price is going to be, and he said, well, it really depends on what type of trigger you need, what type of barrel. But typically, like on my build, if you want to know exactly what my build is, you're looking at a 20-inch Krieger. You're looking at a barreled action for the 20-inch Krieger, and this has the Trigger Tech Special in it. So you'll save a little bit of money. You don't have to go with the diamond, which will save you about $100 or so. My understanding is that a barreled action with a Trigger Tech Special trigger is going to run you a little over $1,900. So it is going to cost you slightly more than a barreled voodoo action, but not much more, and you might be looking for a RimX specifically. I don't know. I'm not going to say one is better than the other because ultimately it's going to come down to the ammunition. I do like the way that this shoots. It is probably one of the most accurate rimfire rifles that I own in my entire collection. I'm very impressed with it. Turnaround time right now for Kenny is about 4 weeks. I know he just got about 4 or 5 actions in, but I think those are already being built out. So that's one of those things. If you want to get in touch with him, go to Desert Precision Gunworks. They're out of Lake Havasu in Arizona. You can also check out his channel at Eagle Eye Shooting. He's got a lot of great content in there. We've been working on the 6 arc, trying to get it dialed in for the matches coming up. But I hope you guys liked this video. It's very informative, I believe. It kind of shows you some of the stuff that we use getting ready for this match. Now, if I can finish in the top 10 tomorrow, I think that would be unheard of because I have no dope past 100 yards. But as long as I can stay somewhere in there, I think I'm still going to go have fun. And I hope to see you guys at the next match. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great weekend. Have a good one. So I haven't reported on the camper in a while. I've been using it quite a bit, especially going to these matches. This is a really cool place. This is at Old Fort, and you can see some people out there doing some fishing, and you can usually talk to the range owners, and a lot of times it's dry camping, so you will need a generator, but way to go. All right, 8 o'clock comes bright and early. It's 11 o'clock in the evening. Just got done punching the bore of the rifle. Wish me luck. We'll talk to you soon.